Hey YouTube, H here from TeamHotPocket. I'm at you with a um, Gravekeeper update deck list. Today's deck of the, I mean, this deck of the month is Gravekeepers, and I put up the deck of the month, but there's been a lot of changes to the deck, so I thought that I would make an update video and let you guys know that it's changed quite a bit, and I've added some more cards that um, I didn't have before that are a lot better to run than some of the ones that were in the previous deck. So um, I'd love to hear some people's inputs on what they think I should add or take away from this deck. Um, the only thing that I'm really missing right now is like a Pot of Duality, 3 Pot of Dualities, but since that card is so expensive, don't really have any. But anyways, let's quickly start with the deck list here, then I will start talking about the cards in the deck and why I run them. 3 Descendant, obviously, 3 Spy, 3 Recruiter, 3 Commandant, 2 Assailant, and that is pretty much the whole entire Gravekeeper monsters list. Not much to talk about here. Pretty much um, typical setup that you run in a Gravekeeper deck. Cards that aren't Gravekeeper related are these 3. Cyber Dragon, Malefic Cyber End, and a Malefic Stardust. Talk about those later. Obviously, 3 Necro Valley. This is the Magics now. 2 Royal Tribute, 2 Stele, Allure, a bunch of staples, Dark Hole, 2 MST, and a Book of Moon. Pretty typical setup. Like I said, the only magic cards I'm really missing are 3 Pot. Anyway, moving on to traps. Bottomless, Sakuretsu. Sakuretsu is actually replacing Deep Prison, Mirror Force, Solemn Judgment, Church of Tribute, 2 Compulse, Royal Oppression, Trap Dust Shoot, Dark Bribe, and 7 Tools. The 7 Tools is replacing a second Dark Bribe. Pretty typical back row. The only big thing here is probably like the Sakuretsu. Okay, now I'll start off by talking about the monsters that I throw in here. This setup right here, it will be taken away for Pot of Duality. All 3 of these won't be run in the deck. It will be replaced by Pot of Duality. But the only reason why I run them is because they have higher attack than other Gravekeeper monsters, and they have some Cyber Dragon I run just because he has a good effect. You could just special summon him, and it's not my normal summon. And he's just a 2100 beater, which is pretty good. The Malefic Cyberend I run just because Necrophilia is a field spell, so he could be on the field. And he's got 4000 attack, so he's a huge beater. Really good. I don't know if I would take him out for pot. I think I'd try and figure out a way to leave him in, but take something else out because 4000 attack is really good. When your monster summons, when your monster like synchros or summons anything that has over 2000 attack that you can't beat with any Gravekeepers, pretty much just summon the Malefic and he'll destroy it. Then Malefic Stardust, run him because he also has high attack like the Malefic Cyberend, but he also protects your field spell, which is really nice. So this is why some people prefer this over the Malefic Cyberend. But I personally prefer this card because it has 4000 attack. So yeah, it's pretty much why I run those. They would all get replaced by Pot of Duality except maybe the Malefic Cyberend. Anyways, I'll move on to the magics. The Necro Valleys, Estelles, and the Royal Tributes are obvious. Then staples. I mean, not much to talk about the magics. The only thing maybe that some people don't run is like an allure. It's pretty much like a replacement for Pot of Duality, but I'd like to run it with Pot of Duality because it speeds up the deck a little bit. Gives you more draw power. I often notice that my hand is empty when I'm running these Gravekeepers, so draw power is always nice. Moving on to my traps now. Oppression is obvious, Bottomless, obvious, pulse, obvious, obvious. Those replacing deep prison, um, and these three are obvious. The only thing that's not that obvious is maybe like the trap dust shoot. I thought about maybe taking it out instead of the malefic cyber end for a part of the body, but it's definitely good against certain decks. Against decks that always have an empty hand, it's not very good against. So that's why I often side it out um, against decks that often have an empty hand, like the I believe it's Infernities. Don't quote me on it, but I believe that deck often works with effects that have to do with when you have an empty hand. Um, this effect happens. So then Trap Dust Shoot becomes useless because he has to have 4 more cards in his hand to be able to activate the Trap Dust Shoot. So um, the reason why you really like to run this card is because you can activate the Trap Dust Shoot, look at his hand, see if he's got monsters, and if he does, um, you can send one of them back to the deck and then activate a Royal Tribute. So let's view his hand, I suppose. I mean, I don't know why else he'd run it. I don't run a Mind Crush, although maybe I could. Um, but yeah, Trap Dust Shoot's kind of iffy. Certain decks you run it against. Definitely 6 hands I'd run it against. Other than that, there's not much else to say about Trap Dust Shoot. Um, yeah, I guess that's about it. There isn't much to say anymore. Sakuretsu placing the Deep Prison, placing a second Dark Bribe is the 7 tools. Um, Everything else is pretty much a bunch of staples. I mean, the only thing that's kind of odd is maybe the compulsory evacuation devices. Those are just really good because um, Compulse is kind of like I see it as like a Book of Moon, except it doesn't set it, it brings it back to your hand. So if he tries to Sakuretsu Armor, Mirror Force, trying to think of other cards like D Prison, Dark Hole, you can just simply compulse your own card back to your hand and it doesn't get destroyed if you don't want it to be destroyed. Um, Pretty reliable in situations like that. It's also very good because you can send one of your opponent's monsters back to their hand if you don't want it on the field. Works well against synchros too because they go back to the extra deck. Um, so then they'd have to resynchro out for it, which is pretty much like destroying it. But Compulse is always a nice card to have. It's like pretty much if because you can't run 3 Book of Moon anymore, now you run the Book of Moon into Compulse, so it's like kind of makes up for the Book of Moon loss. Other than that, I suppose that's about it. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Um, we are actually getting pretty close on hitting a 1,000 subscriber mark, so we're about at 947 at the moment. We're slowly kind of rising up, I suppose, but we keep losing and gaining a bit here and there. We recently gained like 4 more subscribers within the past like week, which isn't very good, but I mean it's pretty decent. So another like 53 subscribers, and then we're at that 1,000 subscriber point, and I'll probably do like a special subscriber video or something um, for all my subscribers out there. Um, but other than that, I guess I have really nothing else to say. Another thing is that we put a recent Exceed deck duel video up with only using the starter deck. If you could check that out, that'd be pretty awesome. It's actually getting pretty close to reaching a 500 view mark. It's at about 300 something, almost 400, so pretty much 100 more views, and then we're at a 500 view mark, and that's pretty huge for a small channel like ours. Other than that, I guess that's about it. Just like to say thanks for watching. Seriously, please like comment on anything that you'd like me to take out or change. I love to hear other people's opinions on running this deck because a lot of people do run it, and there's so many different ways to use this deck and run it. So yeah, I'd really love to hear other people's opinions. So please comment, and that's about it. So thanks for watching. I'll see you later, YouTube.